At the dawn of time, the three creator gods, Miyamoto, Naka, and Iwatani, summoned forth the heavens and the earth from the ether.
But then, capitalism and studio greed cast the world in a shadow.
But the desert sages speak of a legend that one day a group of heroes will rise to deliver the gaming universe out of the Dark Age into an era of creative light.
Power, Taylor Machin.
Wisdom, Jordan Key.
Courage, the inscrutable Sydney Ray Williams.
That day is today.
A ray of hope in the darkness.
Sowing the seeds of creativity and innovation.
And washing away the sins of the industry's misguidance.
We are
the Triforce of
Excellence.
Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to Triforce of Excellence. I am Taylor.
I'm Sydney Ray.
I'm Jordan.
And together, we're here to discuss an issue that's very near and dear to our hearts. What are the aspects that makes video games great? What makes a game transcendent among other products? You know, what makes it art? What makes it special and impactful?
And also,
and how is it different from the masses?
And also,
basically.
compared to other games, what separates top tier games from bottom of the shelf games?
Mm-hmm.
So that obviously all of the AAA developers listen to this podcast. They will now know what it is, what mistakes they're making. Think like, well, what Mario is it's Goombas and it's Princess Peach and it's Bowser. And its platform necessarily special, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I'll start off. I've got an idea to start with, at least. I think we should talk about each and every, like a few different
game ever made.
Yes, let's do it. Start the checklist.
Start Sonic 06. Number one.
Pong.
Just a few different sections to explain what makes different games great. And I want to start with the one that's usually the most important to me. Like, it is more important than most other things, but it does have to have some of the other things, because it can't just have this, in my opinion. But it is the most important. And to me, that's story. I think
story element. Absolutely.
I have to have an engrossing story, something that brings me into it. And I may not have to connect with the main character perfectly, or they don't have to be a stupid blank slate. I completely disagree with that trend. I like a character that's already got some personality, and I can kind of connect with them in a way. And I think if a story can really draw me in and pull at my heartstrings, or really make me feel the action and the need to do this, like I really feel that je ne sais quoi, the going to do it. I have to do this. I'm a part of this. I think that's what makes a story great, is when you can really connect with it.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. This is very, very important to me. I think I want gaming to be known as a medium for creation, the same way as novels are, the same way as movies are. You know, when movies started, they weren't thought of this masterpieces. There's not an Oscars for video games. You know, and I really think it's not necessarily like not everything has to be story driven, but it has to be immersive in a way. There has to be a setup, at least, that's gonna make me care when something happens. Like if an event happens in a game, I need to care about it. Some games, what makes it art, I think, is there has to be a story. There has to be a universe that you are alleging to me. Whereas, I mean, you can have a Catsuit Mario situation where it's like, yeah, this is fun. I get together with friends and I'm having a good time. But like the mechanics of Mario Kart are better than the mechanics of Crash Team Racing, but Crash Team Racing is a more dear game in my heart because stuff happens.
Yeah. 100%. Diddy Kong for me, but 100%.
That's pretty good.
I think I agree with that in the sense that there's a difference between a story-driven game and a game that has story or has
of course.
Like a universe or a world or ideas attached to it. Because if think about Super Mario Brothers, it's a platformer. It's
you don't even know why you're there unless you read the manual and find out that there's a princess at the end.
Right, and so it's definitely not a story-driven game, but I feel like there's enough of a universe there that you connect with it. There's these very unique enemies, and there's kind of this you're going to save the princess.
It's an exploration. Like movie sense. The story is you figuring out these new mechanics, like, oh wait, now I kick a turtle shell, and then that becomes like this crazy chaos on the floor that I have to know about, and this thing, that thing looks like a little fat wind-up toy. Oh, that's a bomb. All right, okay, now I know.
I do want to snip it in there. I think I know what Jordan was trying to say. Is it's not that every game has to have a great story, because not every game's going to, because not every game's going to be about the story. But if it has a story, it needs to be good.
Well, I think I would edit that a little bit. I think that in my opinion, which does not mean it's right, but in my opinion, every game, if it's going to succeed, if it's going to be a good game, has to have a good story. But it doesn't necessarily have to be story driven. It doesn't have to. When I say it has to have a story, I mean it has to have story or ideas or concepts or a universe that gives it some sort of character and some sort of reason to connect to it, like Sydney said. So I think it has to have that. I think if you don't have those elements of what it is to connect to it, then it's gonna go in one ear and out the other. I don't think it has to be story driven, but I think it does have to have a message or a. It
has to have an idea. It's like
something to connect to.
Something that makes you think. Like you play video games because most of real world sucks a lot, and so you want to. I need a game that makes me think. Oh, I want to be there, or I want to see that. I want to do that. That you couldn't do in real life.
I mean, I can think of a few games that are artistic and very beautiful and fun to play that don't really have a story or a universe story that are I would consider great. But I do agree with the main sentiment of it, is what I'm trying to say.
I don't know if I would consider them, like Quidditch World Cup is a good game.
Oh, it's definitely
not a story to that game. It's really just like, what if Quidditch was a thing? I don't think I would consider it great. There are lots of games that I think are good, but I don't think they didn't massively impact me.
I think
moving forward.
I agree. I think there are a lot of games that are a lot of fun as well that aren't necessarily great classic
art,
which is fine. Like, it's fine for there to be
you need
for games to be.
Not
fun.
Every movie is going to be Casablanca. You have to have a Weekend at Bernie's every now and then.
Mindless fun. Yeah, I get you. All right. What about our
we're focusing on our games that are of greatness. The things that make this medium respectable.
Right. And what makes a game a Casablanca rather than a Weekend at Bernie's? What is it that elevates certain games?
Yeah. All right. Okay. So we've got story. What else? Who wants to go next?
I'll let you finish.
Let's see. So if we're not talking about story, we're not talking about characters, which I think is also what you need is they say in RPGs specifically, Western RPGs typically focus on like a neutral mass character, and so that you are going. It's supposed to be you, and you're going out and exploring these things, and then Eastern RPGs are more like the character. You're just along for the ride,
But everybody's got
characters
their
are
own
doing what they're going to do.
Yeah.
You control them at some points, but you're not. You don't dictate their personality.
Yeah, I feel like Eastern's more like a book, whereas Western's like more like trying to make you feel okay. You're doing this. This is.
Why they say it's like that is because of the design of kanji versus romanized letters. You can write so much more.
I agree.
In kanji. So, like in early coding, when there wasn't a lot of space on disks, you can make a lot more dialogue-heavy games, and that was what led to like a Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy designed RPG
that's because
culture.
Kanji can denote tone, whereas Romanized letters can't. That's really the big thing is Kanji can denote tone.
Whereas, so in the West, it had to become more of a visual, sort of like an immersion experience.
Right.
That's how Lord of the Rings: The Third Age was for me. But as soon as you said an RPG where you're kind of tagging along, that's exactly what I thought of immediately. Was
you didn't identify as Barathor?
Barathor was pretty cool. But I
didn't think it was that cool.
Favorite.
But 100%. That's he was in your party regardless.
The big dragon volcano fire move at the end was like the most legit shit ever. But no, I was definitely swept away along with the characters rather than personally identifying with.
Which is a very Lord of the Rings theme. For sure, you don't if you don't keep your feet, you don't know where you might be swept off to.
So was character was that your topic?
I guess so. I didn't mean for it to be, but then it just kind of. I mean, if we want to jump in,
you can go again. I don't.
If you want to add to that,
I think just immersive mechanics. I think make things great. I think for a game to be good, there has to be a mechanic that changes how you see things. Like I don't think an example of a mechanic that's good in a game that I don't think is good. In Assassin's Creed, I think that's a problematic game. Because there are really fun parts of that game, but then it kind of gets distracted. But after you play a lot of Assassin's Creed, when you're walking around and you look at a building, you start going like, all right, there's a pipe there, I would climb to there, and then I would jump to that window. And that they say if you play games for long periods of time, your dreams are more vivid because you're thinking about how to approach the world in a different way. And I think what makes games great is the sort of mechanics that make it approachable in a way that you are living within that world. Like you're not even looking at a screen. The screen you're looking at is your entire brain at that time.
Right? Yeah. I definitely agree with that, and I'll hit on both of the topics that you came up with just for. Singularity's sake.
Sorry, guys. He likes to talk a lot.
Wow.
But like with character, I definitely agree. Characters can really make or break a game. Like if you have terrible characters in a game, you're not going to want to play it. Like that was one of my problems, for instance, with Final Fantasy 13. I didn't like any of the characters at all, except for Saza, whatever his name is, dude with the fro and the chocobo chick. He was awesome.
Did you want them?
Everybody else?
You were crazy. Those are my two least favorite heroes the first time I played it. Zaz was growing on me the second time. Now I'm playing it again.
Yeah. I like Zaz. That's his name.
Lightning is awful to me.
Lightning.
She's just a total wet blanket.
Yeah.
I hate Hope.
Oh, everybody does.
Do you want
everybody
Hope
does.
I'm like, I mean, he's a 15-year-old kid. I hate all 15-year-olds. I think mostly.
Do you want them all to die?
Could be our audience.
yeah, for sure. Well, that's my angle. I have the Triforce of courage to say, all 15-year-olds, you're not humans yet. You don't know how to act. You like even if you like stuff I like, you like it for the wrong reason.
You're not cool enough to be me.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you disagree.
Let us hear all about it in the comments.
I think I have to say, for me, there are a lot of good games out there. There are a lot of good games. but they're one of the things that is so difficult to do, and I think it's the case in other forms as well, especially cooking, that kind of thing, is to know when to, um, how do I want to say it? Know how to be reserved enough. Know when to hold back and when to push something forward. There's so many things. There's so many aspects, whether it be a mechanic, whether it be just some sort of graphical design or layout, that gets in the way of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
And I can't think of a whole bunch of examples off the top of my head. One I can think of, that Donkey mentioned in one of his videos, was the recent trend for games, for the worlds of games, is to get bigger and bigger and bigger. All of these, Grand Theft Auto or No Man's Sky or all these games, they're talking about how big the map is. The map is so huge. There's 60 bajillion planets, all this stuff. But because it's so large, you can't put the details in all of those places. And so
you have to have a certain way. You have to have a certain way to make the world. If you're going to have it be about being big, then you have to have something. It should be designed to where that's a function. Right. It's a feature, not a bug. Like in Shadow of the Colossus, you're going to take, but that's to get you in. No Man's Sky. Eventually, like once you get into the mode of this is the world, and it's a lure, because then you're like, once you have a grasp of the scope, then you stop having moments of like, what? It's even this is here. You're just like, all right, I'm going to the next thing. I'm going to do a thing.
Yeah. So I think that gets in the way of the game, because it's big for the sake of being big, and like that's cool.
Right.
Like you can tout that in your commercials, but like, what does that add to the gameplay elements? It's another world that they didn't have time to spend on it, details in it. It's just another world that's kind of empty, or whatever. And so it's like, on the other hand, if you have a smaller game or a smaller map, or like Luigi's Mansion, it's not that big a map. It's not that big a mansion, but there's details in every single part of it. The attention to detail is really nice. Every single room has a function at one point or another. Every single thing in the room serves a purpose, and so
every room's different.
Yeah, and so it flows really well.
They have their own identity,
right?
Like a problem. A game that I love, primarily for characterization story, Red Dead Redemption, is really big, but other than like the three major like theaters that you're in,
everything else is pretty much the same.
This Mexico and Colorado. I don't know where the third one is. It's really weird how everything's placed out. Other than that, there's no specific areas where you're like, oh, I remember that place really specifically. It's just like canyon, hill area, mountains. Yeah. And I think that's something that holds you back. There should be big areas that you remember, but more importantly, I think, are smaller individual details. I think if you can remember those, that goes a long way.
Yeah, so I think as a game designer, being able to show the reservation to not make these things that are, this is just one example, big for the sake of being big, but there's other things, mechanics that are there just for the sake of it being some sort of gimmick, and it turns out to be a clumsy mechanic that just gets in the way of the fun, or gets in the way of the immersion, because you're like, why is this thing not working like it's supposed to?
Anything with a tailing mission. Any game in history with a tailing mission, that has never been fun. Never one time have I been like, oh yeah, I've got this son of a bitch. Oh, you don't know. They call me the chameleon. It has never happened. They're always
so good. You don't even know I'm there.
Yeah. So that would be one of the things for me. I mean, because you've obviously touched on the really big ones about story and character, but I think things that get in the way of the game just for no reason, for the sake of somebody decided that this should be in there, or they wanted to be impressive with how large the game is. It gets in its own way, and it keeps the game from being elevated to something that's so much better.
For sure. I'll be honest. When I first heard about No Man's Sky, I kind of knew it was going to be a flop, because I was like, this game's going to be too big. And what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's a spore factor.
Yeah. It was like, what are you gonna do? It's just gonna randomly procedurally generate things, but everything's gonna, to a point, it's gonna look almost the same, and you're just gonna get bored. You're flying around, and you're just doing nothing.
The way around that, Minecraft is procedurally generated.
I was going to mention
the skill of
Terraria.
Minecraft is in what you make, what you impose your will upon the game.
Yeah, I was definitely going to say Terraria. As soon as you said procedurally generated, the first thing that comes to my mind is
But in
Terraria.
those games, you can create, whereas in No Man's Sky, there's not really a lot of creation. It's just, oh, I flew to this planet. Oh, I discovered all these things on this planet. Now I fly to the next planet.
Right, and the thing about those games as well that makes them different is I don't know much about No Man's Sky, but at least one of the things that really is memorable to me about Terraria, and is one of the reasons why it's my most played. I've got the most hours in it than more hours than any other game. Steam got the most hours.
Now, I've always said Terraria.
Yeah, that's
now it seems like that's better. Terraria makes more sense. But
I think it depends. I've listened to a YouTuber call it Terraria, and I think he's British, so that might have something to do with it. But either way is fine. But one of the things that really impressed me were the biomes. There were several different biomes. There were several different areas. The different bosses were. It was procedurally generated. They were randomly in the map, but they were in kind of certain areas of the map. And so even though it was large and procedurally generated, there was enough diversity and surprise that it was like, I want to dig through this because I don't know what's around the next corner. It could be one of these 27 things rather than, well, I don't want to go to the next planet because I know it's going to be basically the same as the last planet. Maybe it's a different color. Maybe it's cold instead of hot.
Yeah.
There's like a weird zebra animal instead of a weird rhino animal.
Right, but I'm still going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to walk over there, pick a few berries, and leave.
By zebra, I meant horse. They're all,
striped horses.
They're the same animal. A zebra is pretty much just a No Man's Sky horse.
But
okay. So there's another element I want to hit on because it's probably the most, to me, the second most important thing about a game.
All right.
Gameplay.
More so than what we've already mentioned. Okay, we see how
gameplay.
We see your opinions.
Gameplay, you're saying.
Gameplay. Right. I mean, are you gonna? To me, if a game's not fun to play, on top of having a good story, on top of having all these things, I'm not gonna play it. Like, for instance, unpopular opinion here. Telltale Games, fantastic stories, not very fun to play. Like,
you can watch. Yeah, that's the thing.
They're more fun to watch.
I think they're best served watching a let's play of them.
Yeah. I'd rather watch somebody else play it or play it with other people to see, like, as a big story, and I'm the person presenting the story to others. It's a great YouTube game. Terrible game.
Yeah.
Like, I think YouTube is the reason why these games are big, because the stories, yes, fantastic. What is it? The Walking Dead Season 1. Blows your mind. Fantastic story. If you're not crying at the end of the game, you're a terrible person. But the gameplay of the game, because I've played it myself, I've played several of them myself, is not that great. It's actually kind of boring.
See, I would almost argue that would be more in the realm. The reason why I wouldn't think of it so immediately is that would be, to me, differentiating a bad game from a good game. If you're gonna be a good game, you've got to have the gameplay. So you can't be a great game.
That's why I was thinking it should
I look at this as something to do with the impact it puts on you. I think there are games where the gameplay leaves to be desired, but I still think of as a great game. Like Final Fantasy VII. I mean, it's kind of lackluster in the fighting system
at times.
But I still like the story is strong enough and the world is strong enough. That it makes up for it.
Right. But if it's totally broken and nearly unplayable, Sonic 06, even if it had a great story, it still wouldn't even be a good game. I feel like story is
fiction of our time. Sonic 06. when they talk about the history of stories, they say Moby Dick, they say the Bible, Sonic 06. Those are the three.
Wait. I thought Sonic 06 was in the Bible.
The Bible is
true.
Sonic 06.
Yeah, I take it back.
Okay.
The Book of Eggman.
No, I can kind of get behind that. It's one of those situations where
that's why I brought it up later, though. By the way,
Uh-huh.
sorry to interrupt you, but I brought it up later because I feel like it's an underlying thing. I don't think it's like the most important thing, but it's underlying. It's got to be fun.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Sorry for interrupting you again.
I think with anything, with any aspect, if it's bad enough, then it's gonna tank the game. You know, you can't if you have, a game that you have 5 aspects in it and 3 of them are 9s, but the other 2 are 0s, then it's probably you're not going to think of it as a good game. You know, you've got to have an average of something that's acceptable enough. Because I think if one thing's bad enough, then it just kind of tanks the rest of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's true with kind of any aspect. If the soundtrack is bad enough, then it,
Oh my God! Yeah.
I wouldn't consider the soundtrack to be something that is required for a great game or differentiates a good game from a great game.
Although when I think of it, games that I think of as great consistently have good sound design.
Sound can be part of the story, man.
That's
true. I think Undertale definitely has.
Oh God,
100%. And another thing I want to talk about Undertale before we get off of gameplay is it's interesting that like the system itself is art. Like the way you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. At some points it's hard, but really just like the experience of playing it, even just looking at it, is gorgeous.
Oh my God, it's so good.
I mean, of course, the mechanics of if you kill someone, they're dead. That is
spoilers.
That's the part that he knows that part. He's played a little bit of it, right?
Yeah. For everyone else, man, spoilers.
You got
what?
No. That's
You're
the
surprised
thing.
If you kill something, it's dead. Well, that's a surprise. Jesus.
Yeah, but not like Undertale dead.
Well, shh. Yeah. I'm trying to save you here.
I'm not saying any things, but like it's enough time. Everybody knows that about Undertale at this point, right?
Maybe.
I knew that going into it, and I didn't think it ruined that. Some people say like if you know that when you die something is dead, then it's gonna ruin the game for you. But I knew that going in, and I still cried like 4 times. So
I agree. I agree.
Sure.
I will say for any of you listening, if you have not played Undertale and it is the type of game that you think you would like, buy it on Steam right now.
Even if you don't, even if you're just like if you're a creative type, you should play Undertale.
Yes.
Even if you're not even a PC gamer, you get Steam just for that. I think it's such just a masterclass in characterization and making you care about things. I have never been emotionally invested so hard in so little a time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's only
Undertale is actually the reason why I bought Steam. Why I got Steam.
Really, that's a really solid price for a game like that. Definitely solid.
I want to kidnap Toby Fox and just make him make more games.
Yeah, more games.
The rest of his life.
He's a genius. And music.
He's driving me insane. He's always on Twitter and he's all like, "Oh, I don't know, I'll ever make it or something." I'm like, "No, you must. Like the world needs more of this game
for real."
Like, "Oh, I'm just so humble that so many people like it." It's like, "Do you not know what you did? What you've done?"
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Everything is so.
Oh wow!
Every location. Sorry.
Sid, you just went through a warp hole.
Yeah, I was trying to. That noise I made, that was my real voice. I was trying to convey to you.
I got so excited. I just.
Wow!
So excited.
I turned into a transformer.
Turn into Soundwave. I'm going to leave that one in just for this.
All right.
Turned into Soundwave there. But okay, is there any other mechanics or devices or anything in a game that you guys think is super important that can change a game from good to great?
I mean, I think I kind of cheated when I said that anything that gets in the way of the game because that kind of covers a lot of areas. If the controls,
but it's okay.
If the controls are bad enough that it gets in the way of the game, if the difficulty is scaled so poorly that it gets in the way of the game, I think that kind of blankets a little bit.
Yeah, I think like in the way of things get in the way of the game, you just have to. There's a trend now where it's just like more stuff should be happening. It should just be every inch of the game should have stuff. And then, with the exception of Katamari Damacy, where it's by design full of stuff.
That's the point. Yeah.
I think that's a mistake. I think knowing when to be minimalist, which is kind of what Jordan was always saying, is really important.
I think
it's
something we could put on the not what makes a good game great is pretty easy to talk about. Graphics. I'm sure we can mostly all agree with probably the fact.
You know what? I'll say graphics can break a game.
No, that is very true.
Certain aspects,
that's not.
When I go back to Super Mario 64, which is a Mario game, I look at Goombas now and I'm like, that's not what we kind of expect.
I don't want anyone to misconstrue my statement. I'm not saying that graphics can't make a good game bad. I just don't think that graphics alone can elevate a good game to a great game.
Yes.
I think that it can improve games. I mean, I think HD remakes in certain cases can definitely. I think Wind Waker going from GameCube, I think it looks really great. It looks fine on GameCube, but then you bust in the HD remake and you're just like, wow.
I think that was already a great game.
Yeah, already a great game for sure.
I think it changed.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. I think it can improve a game, but I think there's too much.
I don't think
emphasis.
that changed whether it was great.
Yeah.
Something. Oh, this is gorgeous. Like you can't say this is an art.
Yeah. I think that there's a little bit too much emphasis on graphics for the sake of graphics.
Yeah. Right. I agree with that.
And I
think there's way too much emphasis on graphics.
Without these other ingredients of story and all these other things, then I don't think the graphics are enough to carry the game.
Yeah. Everybody's like, man, my game's got to be 4K resolution, and it's got to look picture perfect, and blah, blah, blah. No. I don't care if your game is cel-shaded and stylized like Wind Waker.
I'm over here sitting, Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah.
Classic.
Paper Mario, timeless. Really, any Mario game is timeless because it has its own style.
I'm going to throw some games at you. And I want you to tell me
good or great?
Whether this is good or great. Yeah. Or bad.
Okay.
All right. Mario 64.
Great.
Mm-hmm. You say it's great? Jordan, you agree?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
You speaking for Jordan?
Yes, great.
Yeah, he agrees. Ocarina of Time.
Great. Amazing.
All right. Majora's Mask.
Fantastic. Great.
You would say that's great?
I haven't
Jordan?
played it.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't played it? All right.
Crucify me, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Ooh, with N64?
Which one?
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah, I played that.
Let's say that first one first.
I played that this week. I played it when
I haven't played the original.
I played it. I picked it up on the N64 because I remember playing it as a kid. Played it over break. I played it last week while I was at Kat's parents' house.
What's the first one you played?
Me? I've played 2 and 4. That's it.
Honestly, for me, I would say Pro Skater is a good game. I think it's iconic, but I don't think it's a great game.
I would say Pro Skater 4 is the best skating game, like skateboarding game. But I don't think any skateboarding game is like great game. I think it's fun and it's good, but I don't think it is greatness.
Does Avalanche 1080 count as a skating game? Because that game was amazing.
No, that's not skating. That's snowboarding.
I mean, it's snowboarding, but like it's in that same vein. You're on a board and you're going around. Like,
I mean, I still wouldn't say it's great. I still personally would view it as a good, fun game.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got any more for us?
I think I could make that argument. We can talk about that. For now, let's keep rolling. Yeah. Metroid Prime. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
Super Metroid.
Yes.
You would say that's great?
Yes.
All right. Metal Gear Solid.
Jordan being quiet over there. Metal Gear Solid, the original?
Yes, the original.
That's a tough
like PlayStation 1.
That's a tough one. Yes and no.
Yeah, I mean, there's aspects. That is one of those series that really could use an editor to go to Kojima and just be like, no, you got to pull back on this. You know?
Kojima, you're a genius, but a little bit less. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Have you disagreed with any of Taylor's other takes so far?
I mean, I disagree. I don't know. I think I would say Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1. I would agree with. Underground and American game. Wasteland. I would not agree with. Well, those are great games. Under the radar, but they are very impactful to me.
Okay.
All right.
Underground was good. I will give Underground good, greatish.
Good plus.
Oh, come on.
Good plus, maybe.
Alright. Okay.
Great. We'll give it great. What about you, Jordan? You were pretty silent for a few of them.
Some of them I haven't played.
Yeah.
Alright, another one comes. Pokemon.
Oh, great game. I've got it in my drawer. I am holding Pokemon Red right now in my hands.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I'm literally
Red, blue,
in my
yellow,
hands. It is
all
in
three.
It is in my desk drawer next to my computer because I did my Nuzlocke of it, back a couple months ago. I'm holding it in my hands right now. Great game. Great game.
I will go one step further with that and say I haven't played a non-great main entry Pokemon game. In my honest opinion, I haven't felt that any of them were not great.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And even most of the side games.
That doesn't mean they didn't have some flaws, especially
No.
the first generation. Some type.
Like the gameplay is competitive, but that's part of it. But I think the stories, I think each world of each generation is unique
enough, yeah.
You can, and aspects of each one that it's I don't know. I lost it, dude. I had it.
Yes.
Now you are. You weren't. You were a robot.
Yeah, you were breaking up real bad. So I got the gist of what you were trying to say. I think you were saying mostly that you feel like every one of the games is unique enough. Right.
I think the world is unique enough.
Yeah.
That
the world.
It feels like the creator of each generation had a passion for it. Like they love what they were making.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree, 100%.
I think the criticism is that like they're just making more because people keep paying for them. But I can't speak for X and Y. I didn't play X and Y, but other than that,
I have, and X and Y are awesome. They're actually,
all right.
After Gold and Silver, X and Y is my second favorite.
Man,
I would put Gold and Silver. I put tied with Red and Blue, Yellow. Gold, Silver, Crystal, Red, Blue, Yellow. I put that tied at 1, and then X and Y and Sun and Moon is tied at 2. For me, personally, I think those two games. I mean, Gold and Silver is the best. Clear cut, but Red and Blue is right behind them.
It's pretty strong.
Because I feel like Gold and Silver is everything right about Red and Blue, but better.
I agree. It is, and they seem less tapped for Pokemon design. Like they weren't. Yeah. Like after Red and Blue, it seemed more like they're drawing on the ones from before.
Yeah.
Like there are some. But Silver and Gold had so many hits
Yeah. So many greats. I mean, most of my favorites are in that timeline. I mean, there's a few of my favorites from later, but anyway, yeah. Next one. Pac-Man. I'd give it great, but for the reason that it's history. But I'll say I think Pac-Man is great because of what its legacy. I think its legacy is what makes it great. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I would even have to
conditionally say that. Yeah,
conditionally say
you just say it's great.
I could play Pac-Man infinitely.
That's true. I mean, it's always fun.
Pac-Man and Galaga, I don't think I'd ever get bored of. I could play those till the end of days and have a good time.
Yeah.
All right, that is really interesting. That you said you could play it to the end of time. Is that a quality that makes something a great game? That you stuck in a vacuum of space with one game for eternity. You feel good about it.
Yeah, hands down. Replayability, man.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, that's valuable. That's interesting. So by Taylor, you would also give like Super Mario Brothers 1.
Yeah, hands
the original
down.
It's a great game.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, not just because of, not just because of what it is. It's a great game. Like, take everything else from Super Mario, or the Mario legacy away from it. It is still an absolutely fantastic game. Still today, you can plug in an NES and play the original Mario Brothers and have a good time.
I did that last week.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Tetris.
Yes.
Tetris, you say yes? Jordan?
Yes.
Descent?
A great game? I don't know. I think I'd call it a good game.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's definitely, to me, there's a difference between being a good game and being an iconic game. Tetris is undoubtedly an iconic game. You could even say it's obviously it's a classic game. But I don't think being iconic and being a great game are the same.
Sure.
But that's just my thoughts.
Yeah. I can see your point.
Gotcha, absolutely. Now to this one. This one, I think, no brainer.
No brainer. What is
no brainer. Sonic 06.
Fantastic. Best game ever.
7
out of 10.
Actually, 8
100 out of 100.
8 bananas. 8 bananas.
That's one more banana than Luigi's Mansion.
I know. Spoiler.
Whoa.
Oh,
call back.
Bleep that out.
Call back to the previous episode that's coming later.
Edit.
You broke the world a little bit.
Inception.
You're in the wrong timeline.
That's when I went through the vortex earlier.
There you go.
That's what happened. I went to the future. I did the Luigi's Mansion podcast.
Yeah.
And then came back to us.
That
came back to us now, right? Because this is before that podcast. It hasn't happened just yet. Wink, wink.
So you don't even. But now, I'm sorry, Jordan. You already know what you're going to rate the podcast.
8 bananas.
I spoiled it for you. Now you don't even have free will because you're.
Yeah, that's predetermined now.
Well, you know what? By the time we get to that podcast, it'll be 8 green bananas, and so I will have free will. I will impose the color. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. Well, do we want to close out with that lightning round of?
No.
I wish you the best of luck.
I think we can do a little bit more. I think we got a little bit more we can add.
We can do another podcast.
That's true.
Well, let's just discuss a little bit. We didn't really talk about it very much. We kind of hinted at it. Let's discuss video games as an art form for a minute, and then we can close out there because it is getting a little bit late.
Yeah, it's late for you.
Oh yeah, it's true. You're in the eastern regions. You're in the far east.
The far east.
Hanging out with Marco Polo.
So okay. So just start up. Video games are art. We can all agree on that, correct?
100%.
100%, yeah.
100%. Not all video games are art, but not all movies are art, not all books are art.
Yes.
Okay, so we do all agree on that. Not all of it's art. Thank you. People
Yeah,
agree with
100%.
me. Oh,
Yeah, I say
okay.
I say let's let Sydney take the floor for a bit because
Yeah.
she was definitely very brought it up. Seems the most passionate about this topic. So I'd say
Yeah.
open it up.
If Sydney can talk.
As a writer, topic. There's this. We're evolving. Can I talk? Am I talking right now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
All right. One, we're evolving as a species. We're people that were raised on media are now making media. Cartoons are now becoming more in depth and more respected because people that are making them were raised on cartoons.
Right.
Video games are just now reaching that point, and so they're not yet respected. You have people that dedicate their lives to movies and say, "Oh, this is real art. Video games is just a thing kids do." But that's what movies used to be.
Right.
I think it's very important for games like Undertale to get press, certain RPGs to get press. But the thing is, they have to be accessible to the public, and so when you have marry that medium between something that anyone could pick up and play and something that is going to impact people. Because more people are going to be like, yeah, I'll play Katsu Mario. It's something, our friends can about it. But, if you could...
Okay.
It makes... Besides, it's just not well publicized. Undertale. Why doesn't my mom play Undertale? If you like good stories, you should like that. Why isn't that accessible yet? And that's what's very important.
But, like, I think what I got out of it, listening from our perspective over here, that you were talking about how games are artistic and that they need to be accessible and get able to get to, because the reason why people are going to play games like Katsu Mario is because it's easy to play, it's easy to get to, and right? Am I on the right track?
People are have a mindset about games right now where they're like, I'm not supposed to think about it. I'm supposed to just go in and play. And I think that's
right.
I think there's a whole another sphere of gaming that the general public doesn't understand. That is very important to me that can become, talk about. You're like, oh, did you play this game? Oh, it was such a
yeah.
Tougher because game requires more. I'm not really sure how to overcome it.
It's tough. It's definitely tough to overcome that.
I want it to be possible that you can just go to college to be a game writer.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. You would write screenplay. You could take a screenplay class. You could take a game screenplay class, whatever that would be.
Yeah. That would be cool. Sign up now at DeVry University. Kidding.
Well, now we're getting
Hashtag not an ad. Hashtag not an ad. Hashtag but it could be.
Yeah, if you play your cards right, DeVry. That was a freebie. ITT Tech. That could be you.
So what can make a game art? And does a game being art make it a great game?
Lollipop Chainsaw is not a great game, but that's art for sure.
Tough question.
So I think
I would agree. I would agree. Lollipop Chainsaw is definitely art, and it's. I would say it's a pretty good game, though. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's actually kind of fun. It's got a pretty good story.
It's got a good atmosphere. I'm not gonna say that's a great game, though. You're gonna put that in the same conversation as Ocarina of Time.
Well, see, I think it's a different category of great game, because I think certain games are great in their categories, but maybe not everywhere else.
That's a different category in the way that, my Little League baseball team was a pretty great Little League team, but I wouldn't talk about them the same as I talk about the Yankees.
Well, no.
First of all, the Yankees. Second of all, the Yankees. Third of all, Boston. Fourth, the Yankees.
Come on.
I was thinking more like along the lines of saying, that's like a great football team as opposed to a great baseball team, because it's a great comedy game. It achieves what it's trying to do with comedy. It's funny. It's good. It's a good comedy game. It's a great comedy game. Like, if you want to laugh about a game, like Conker's Bad Fur Day. I don't know.
You're gonna put that above. You're gonna put those in the same.
That's above. That's above Lollipop Chainsaw. Yes,
So
that is like top tier. One of the best comedy games ever. But and it's a great game.
Dead Rising. We're talking about great comedy games.
Yeah. Those games are meant to be funny, and they're not meant to be like, cutting edge of games. But
that is by its own nature art. You know, like art, comedy in movies is not always art, but comedy in games.
So I would put Lollipop Chainsaw as a great game, but I would put it on the lower tier of great games. To be honest,
asterisk.
I think it's kind of like a ranking system there, but I'd put it on a lower tier. But I think it is still great. So then
you would say, so you would argue that if it is art, it is a great game.
No, because I do agree with your sentiment that, there are some games that are extremely artistic that really aren't that great of games, but they're extremely artistic. You know what I mean?
You know what I kind of felt that way about, and this is maybe a little controversial. I didn't think this was a great game, but I did think the experience and the art was very beautiful. Okami.
Yes.
Okami, well, I don't view that as landmark in any gameplay system. It's just kind of like Eastern
Zelda game.
Yeah, I guess in some ways
it's a knockoff Zelda game with an amazing story and really cool, pretty effects because paintbrush Eastern stuff.
It is unique, and it does seem like a lot of love put into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely.
Everything has its own sound effect. Like there's there's one root has its own set. It wasn't a, what's her name? The actress that plays Black Widow.
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. She's gorgeous. I don't think of her as a landmark player in acting.
I see what you mean. Yeah. I mean, I personally would disagree. I'd say Okami's a great game.
Yeah.
That's my own personal opinion.
Well, now, see, that's twice we've disagreed on this. So what are you saying? What is an example for you of a game that's art that isn't great?
Unpopular opinion. I'm going to be with you on unpopular opinions, but as I brought up earlier, the Telltale games.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic story. Great graphics. I mean, the cell shading, the comic book cell shading style to it looks amazing. Love it. Love the story. Very powerful, moving story. Fantastic. It is with me for the rest of my life. Experiencing that. Not a great game. Great. I would rather it be a visual novel, like a choose-your-own-adventure visual novel, which is basically what it is anyway. I would rather it be that than classify it as a game, because I don't classify visual novels as a game. A lot of people do. I don't. That's my unpopular opinion.
Well,
but
with that controversial opinion, we can just call it a night.
Well, Jordan, you haven't talked on the matter. You have anything to add?
Yeah, I may just remain the neutral party here.
And then we can close on that.
Close on Jordan.
Nobody wants to visit Switzerland. What?
I didn't even hear what you just said. I think you said something like nobody wants to visit that controversial one. Is that what you said?
There's one thing we can all agree on.
One thing we can all agree on.
Yeah.
Now,
are you there?
Switzerland.
I think that might be where we have to end it because we can't even understand Sid anymore.
Hello. Are you going to the Conker's Bad Fur Day podcast? Because that's way in the future.
That's way later. Way later.
Come back,
Sid.
One.
You got to go back to 66 miles per hour. Or 88 miles per hour, whatever it is.
There's the drop.
Okay, so on that note, we did have to end the podcast. We had some issues, some technical issues with Sydney's recording setup and ability to speak with us, so we had to cut it there. But thank you so much for joining us. We really did enjoy making this and doing what we could to entertain any of you who have sat down and listened to us chit-chat for about an hour. But we definitely all would like to thank you, and hope that all of you have a great rest of your day, whatever. I don't even know anymore. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to, if you see this on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud or on iTunes, once this gets up on iTunes, please make sure to subscribe and keep listening to us. We certainly do have an amazing time making these, and we love to keep making more, so it really helps us out. So thank you so much, and peace out.